right, legends, how's everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation. Hope you're doing absolutely great, legends. We're getting a little bit of a bounce here for the price of Bitcoin. We'll be analyzing this all together, okay? Make sure to destroy that like button if you do enjoy the content, and let's dive in right away to say hello to the beautiful community. Right away, legends, how is everyone doing? Let's put a bit of background music here and let's crack on here with this bounce of Bitcoin, because we are getting a bit of a bounce happening, right? I was not expecting this bounce to be as powerful. I was expecting a bounce, of course, but not to be as powerful. We'll go through this in the next coming minutes, and we'll be discussing what we are looking for here on the price of Bitcoin, because we are coming now to the next major level of resistance. We were talking about some levels of resistance inside of the Legends Pro community. Holy smokes, this just doesn't want to stop. I had some levels here that were ready on the chart. We're looking for a long position today in this area. We had a daily level. They got a beautiful reaction on the bullish case scenario, which I'm not in favor of, but this is just absolutely ripping. It's just breaking through the levels, no reaction whatsoever. So yeah, let's just, I think a lot of people are becoming a little bit bearish and skeptical on the price of Bitcoin. Overall, the highest probability is to hit new all-time highs, guys, regardless of what happens in this zone, just because we have a three-wave structure here. And right, this reminds me very much of what we were looking for a few weeks ago. We have got a three-wave structure, right? Are we going to hit the lows here or not? Are we going to hit them and then bounce? How low can we go? Is this a wave 2? Well, this is too deep for a wave 2, so we're not giving it the highest probability. Then, of course, the market absolutely ripped to take out all-time high. You know, high probability that all-time high is to be taken. And we have a similar situation here, that the highest probability is to take out all-time high, because we have a three-wave corrective structure to the downside. The question is, will we, is this the low? Or are we going to get beneath this low, find support, and then eventually, look for the reversal to hit all-time high? Or is this the low right over here and we formed a higher low and we're hitting new all-time highs right in the next coming days? If we continue like this, eventually I would expect to find some resistance somewhere and get a reversal, but let's not get too bullish just as of yet. In the Legends Pro community, we talked about a scalp day trade, okay? We talked about a scalp day trade long, which is playing out very nicely. You need to leave some open just in case the price decides that it wants to go to higher levels. But in the pro community is where we look for intraday setups, intraday local scalp day trading scenarios. In the VIP, I have it reserved for more swing trading, okay? But in the pro community, in today's update, we were talking about the possibility of this, okay? No shorts taken, but we were looking for a rally here to find resistance, which we did not, and volume was increasing. So I'll let the people know inside of the pro community, guys, there's just no shorts to be taken with this rally, even though we are hitting the previous day point of control. Volume is increasing, and it is a powerful move up, and the highest amount of volume that we have locally here. And volume is increasing right now as we go. So yeah, inevitably, even though if you're looking for a lower high from this zone, volume is increasing on the movements up as we are hitting resistance. And if that is happening, you're just not interested in taking the short, as I was communicating today in the Legends Pro community. So yeah, let's just go through. This was the main general idea, okay? Which, as long as we form a lower high, it is still very much possible. But today we were trading inside of this zone, and my preferred scenario was, let's get down to this 121.2k zone where we do have a daily level, and that daily level we are looking for a reaction, or at a maximum level, if we want to conserve a higher low in this zone, we want an SFP from these higher lows. So we had two levels that were important to take into consideration the long position. Daily level reaction. If we lose the daily level, we are looking for these higher lows for an SFP. Now, let me just go through that, what was mentioned here. If you want education, of course, possible trading setups and scenarios. The first trading setup was looking for that daily level reaction, 4, 5, get that movement down. We're looking for a long, taking profits on the way up, and we are looking for shorts, which is, this is the idea, but we're just pumping, so there's no shorts to be taken as we're pumping with increasing volume. Now, the general idea for this trade was to get above the fourth wave, right, which is 122.3K. Now, we're just pumping a few extra $1,000 now at the moment, but this was the general idea. Daily level reaction and look for a long position to claim the fourth wave. Now, I wasn't extremely confident on this long, just because we were forming bearish CVD divergence, and I instantly, communicated to the legends here, look, I'm protecting position because we got lots of bearish CVDs, but bearish CVDs can't, if there's nobody shorting, well, they're going to have priority to pump the price, of course. So the overall plan was to long the daily level. If not the daily, then we're looking for this low for an SFP, right? SFP of these lows. If the bulls want to have a chance here, because there is a bullish case scenario, of course, we could still form a higher low here, a lower high, sorry. We could still form a lower high, 7, 8, previous day value area high. We're breaking above the daily open in the previous day value area high, which was my main level of resistance, but we just smashed it. So I don't have any, any short scenarios currently where we are at the moment, especially taking into consideration that the volume is increasing on the breakouts of the levels of resistance. So it's just really, it is looking a bit strong at the moment locally. So there's no, of course, if the bears want to defend the idea of forming a WXY double zigzag in this scenario, then eventually they want to form a lower high here from this high of yesterday. So there is a chance of the price here really struggling to go to higher levels and really form a bit of choppiness, which we're gonna be looking at here in the next coming minutes. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit of how I'm going to be approaching the short here, because shorting right now on the pump is, as we break in these levels, is just not good. The main first shorting area was the previous day point of control, which was sitting at 122,650. Right, if we do get the session volume profile and we analyze yesterday's highest volume node from this consolidation, it's literally sitting here at, you can see it right there at 122.7K, right? 0.6K approximately. Getting a bit of a rejection right now, back to the daily open, still looking pretty strong. But I'll explain where I would consider a short position, guys, okay? So I was just communicating to the Legends Pro. I'm not interested in shorting this previous day point of control. There's one reason why. The movement up is in a straight line. So even though if we were to get a rejection, I would be expecting another pump up, right? A bit of a three-wave structure. This was very, very straight. And the other reason was we have an increasing volume here. Lots of shorts now entering here. It's going to be interesting to take a look at the delta. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is crazy. Bybit here are going crazy short right now. So we're going to be forming some bullish CVDs. They decided to short here. Big amounts of shorts entering the market at the moment on Bybit, which is interesting. Now we're just currently back testing the daily open of today. So we opened today, rolled down, and now we're currently back above today's open. When you go to the daily chart, you're going to see the, basically, yeah, the day, kind of a doji, right? Not a doji, but like a hammer candle, right? Big buying pressure coming in here, creating this wick for the moment on the daily, right? We've still got many hours for the daily close, but If this were to, you know, close like this with this pin right there, you know, there's definitely some buying pressure coming in here. So yeah, let's just analyze, guys. Make sure to destroy the like button. Okay, some of the legends, pro community, very likely in that short position still, even though most of the profits have been taken on the way up. Okay, still said, you know, possibly I have 30% still open on that long. It was a day trade, guys. It was a little scalp day trade to play out in 1-2 hours, right? There's not expecting this movement, and we need to go through, you know, what if this is actually bullish? Because I mean, if we were to take out these highs of yesterday, let's get this scenario out of the way. If we were to take out the highs right over here from yesterday, then yeah, it's very, very high probability that, you know, even though the probabilities are high already to take out new all-time highs, if you get above this high, then yeah, there's going to be a few scenarios that we're going to talk about. It's either sideways momentum or this is a wave 3 on the development that's, you know, going to really smash in and get everybody surprised, which we're going to go through right away. Bearish case is still very much possible. Okay, it's just this pump has been pretty strong and pretty, you know, pretty straight up that we've had today. A nice little rally of, you know, about $3,000 give or take. Yeah, not even that, 2,500. But yeah, we're going to talk about the bearish case a bit on, you know, the 15-minute time frame on this local range. We're going to talk about the bullish case, which will increase in probability after hitting this high right over here. And it will just take less time potentially to get all the way up here to these highs. Of course, a flat scenario here and then down is a scenario. However, if we get above the 70% Fibonacci, which is literally just taking out these highs, the probabilities that the low here locally at 120.6k is in. If we manage to pump above yesterday's highs and, you know, hit 124.5k or so, if we do get this rally all the way up here, there's going to be a high chance that the low is in here for Bitcoin, and what we're likely going to form is a sideways corrective structure. I will go in detail on the probability size. Regardless, this is a 3-wave move down. We got too much of a powerful bounce here for this to be bearish. Okay, so with the information that we have, corrective structure down. The main question here is, do we get a zigzag WXY and an X wave and then another zigzag down? Then yeah, that is definitely possible. That was the main general idea. A flat here is I mean, it would, sorry, my bad, it wouldn't be a flat because we didn't hit the 0.9 Fibonacci from down here, from here to here. Yeah, it wouldn't be a flat, it would be more of a zigzaggy move up. I have to say, it doesn't look too bad for the bulls, huh? The bears really want to defend this zone. They want to form a lower high. It's super important here to form a lower high if the bears are considering to take out 120,500, which is not looking too great right now, as we are reclaiming some highs. Lots of shorts entering right now on Bybit, which, you know, they can get trapped eventually. Let's see how the market develops. But this has to be the zone that it rejects, preferably not hitting the 0.8 Fibonacci, which was almost hit. I have to say, it's looking good for the bulls. I think there's a lot of people turning a little bit bearish at the moment, eventually, with this, you know, swing failure pattern from the highs, this big aggressive drop to the downside. You know, you might see some people becoming a little bit bearish, but the bearishness completely changed once we created this move up yesterday, which did get rejected at a crucial level that was mentioned on yesterday's stream. On yesterday's stream, we were talking about the bump and run scenario, which you need to be very, very careful because we can expect a fake out of the bump and run. If you were here on yesterday's stream, we were literally talking about the bump and run, guys. Let me know if you remember that. I do have it somewhere on the screen here, but we were talking about the bump and run, right? Be careful of this lower high resistance trend. You know, this would not be a great idea to go long at a resistance trend breakout. I'm never a fan of this, guys. You know, I would prefer looking for a short. We actually talked about a short here yesterday, which is hitting the golden pocket and the point of control of this range of the last few days, right? This point of control right there and the golden pocket. You know, you would prefer one to look for shorts at a major level of resistance. And forget about the trend breakout, guys. You know, it's just classic for a fake out. You know, this is like basic analysis. You need to take many things into consideration. People that do not have more knowledge and just use trend lines, that you know, it's a recipe to fail, right? We were looking at a very, very potential short position here yesterday on the video, right? Be careful with the lower high resistance trend line breakout bump and run scenario here, because we could be looking for a big rejection, right? It might create some choppiness. It didn't create too much choppiness on the 1 minute. It did ever so slightly, a few minutes trading there. But golden pocket, point of control, yeah, you're breaking resistance, but it's a trap scenario, right? Very, very classic to get that big rejection from that golden pocket and point of control of the range of the last few days. So yeah, not a level to long whatsoever. Okay, not a level to long. It's a level to be cautious and maybe be interested in a short. So yeah, that's what happened literally, right? It literally got to the level and it got the rejection. Okay, just to be clear, we were talking about the confluence in this area and we got the rejection. So today's setup was looking at this movement down as a 5-wave structure, which it very much looks like a 5-wave structure. We'll discuss a little bit of the scenarios. I mean, this is a bit of an aggressive short, right? When the market is pumping so aggressively, it's above the daily open, it's above the previous day value area high. Volume has increased throughout the latest move. You want to be very, very cautious, of course. Now, it is true that if the bears want the price to hit 120k, 120.6k low, you cannot get above this high. If you get above this high, I would confidently say that it's, the low is in. That the low is in here, and we're looking for new all-time highs. Okay, and I'll explain that in today's stream. So bears still have a chance, right? The general idea here for the bears locally, right? Because overall on the higher time frame, we are looking for new all-time highs, even though it looks epic, guys, for this to be the top. This is actually people calling for top now, right? People want, I've seen throughout X and throughout, the top is in, the top is in. There's actually a few top callers out there. And when you have top callers, you realize that, yeah, it's probably not the top, right? It's probably not the top. Anyway, looking at the analysis, 3-wave down, epic bounce, likely to take out all-time highs, regardless taking out this low or not. So we've got a few top callers throughout social media, which automatically means the top is unlikely to be in, even though the technicals also suggest that the top is not in. So just purely based with this 3-wave move down, guys, and this bounce, right? I'm not going to overcomplicate this. This is a corrective move down with this bounce. If it were to be impulsive, it was important for the movement down here to create one more low, then this would have been a pretty solid 5-wave move down, but that didn't happen. So as that didn't happen and we overlapped from this pivot, this is a correction. What we're looking at here, regardless if you take out the low, is a corrective move or sideways corrective move to then take out all-time high later on. So yeah, the overall direction, right, in on the higher time frame is looking for new all-time highs. I got into a long today with the pro as a day trade, with the pro community as a day trade, okay? Not shorting, as we had increasing volume on the movements to the upside right over here. We were moving up with increasing volume, hitting the previous day point of control. We're actually getting above it. So no shorts to be taken. We have increasing volume, hitting the highs, even though we were having bearish CVD divergence, lots of longs entering the market. Seems like there's no short players to participate. Volume increasing, breaking the levels. No shorts, guys. Okay, very clear, you know, just to give that guidance for people that are joining the pro community and that want to see a little bit of action. Okay, no shorts to be taken. Take profit to hit on this scenario right over here. You know, the general idea was looking for a lower high, but we're not shorting as the market is pumping with some increased volume, and now we need to restructure this scenario, okay, which we are going to do here on the live stream. So if you do like that, let's smash up the like button. We'll go step by step. We'll do a little bit of higher time frame analysis, then we'll dive in through the lower time frame, and I'll explain where I would enter a short, okay, how I am going to execute a short, because it's all about decision taking, guys, right? I know a lot of people wouldn't have been interested maybe in taking a long position in this area, but we create plans. We understand Elliott wave, we understand the confluence, we understand the risk management, we understand where to put a stop loss, when to be defensive if we don't like the price action that we are getting. And the execution here was a fake out of the daily level, right? Fake out of the daily level, which is right over here, considering an end of a fifth wave move. And it was either bounce at the daily or bounce at this low. So your execution here is above the daily, or it's above this higher low if you do get a reaction. Stop loss at the low, beneath the low. Give or take a bit of room, of course. Just a little bit of room here to give this possible projection up. I mean, it was a movement of $1,000. It was a day trade that we wanted to take here at the lows. And this was explained in the Legends Pro community, okay? The general idea was looking at this. So we're looking for longs, then we're looking for shorts. But shorts were not executed purely based on the volume and the the break of levels that we were getting here. So is it a good time to short? Well, I can say the bears need to defend this zone. That is for sure, right? The movement down does look impulsive. There is a way of counting it as a double zigzag. However, you know, this does look pretty impulsive if you ask me. Okay, it does look like a 5-wave move down. So like this is the last zone to form a lower high if you're considering this impulsive in an A wave, and this is a B wave. B waves can be very, very difficult, of course. They can go to the 382 Fibonacci and then get the rejection, or they can pump up to the 7.8 or the 0.88 Fibonacci and then move down. So if you are bearish, this is like the last zone, 7.8 Fibonacci area. I'm not liking it too much because there's been very much powerful increasing volume into this movement. I haven't got any major levels up here. We've broken above the previous day value zone. We broke above the daily open. And I don't have any major levels or a plan here, literally. I don't have a trading plan here for a short. So I'll explain what I need to see for the short, okay, in the next coming minutes. Which there is time, of course. I need to go through the development of the price action. on how I'm going to execute a short here, right? We're here to make money, and we're here to, you know, I mean, myself, you know, I'm talking about myself here, no financial advice. And it's also important to defend your capital, right? The defending capital is the most important and hardest thing in trading, right? Because, you know, I get some people also asking me, you know, do we short now? Do we short now according to the plan? And I have to say, no shorts taken, because we've moved up very quickly. We've have increasing volume on the movement up. And yeah, it's just, I guess experience does come into play here. Experience does come into play when to take the decisions, and obviously that comes with time, right? So I'll explain later on what I need to see to take a short. Even though shorts become risky, they do become risky, because at the end of the day, this is a 3-wave move down, and we are looking for new all-time highs. So shorts, we need to take them. I need to take them with a little bit of you know, pinch of salt, right? You need to be very, very cautious, not too aggressive on the shorts, realizing that we are looking for new all-time highs to be hit. So I mean, at least with my point of view, right, which is looking at this as a 3-waver. So we're going to go through the 4-hourly, then we'll zoom in on the lower time frame. Hopefully I will explain myself as good as I can, and we'll be discussing what we need to see for a sign of weakness. For the moment, we're getting a local sign of strength, which is not stopping. And yeah, we'll go in detail later on, right? The only long position that for a good execution that I saw today was the daily level, reaction at the daily level, reclaim it, and that's the only clearest day trade long that I did see today. Okay, so just for you to let you know, this was the only trading plan for today, day trading plan for the Legends Pro. Okay, bears need to defend this zone. They need to start losing support. And we can analyze a little bit that in the next coming minutes, and I'll explain exactly what I need to see to take a short, guys, right? I know it looks interesting because, come on, what an epic drop with high volume, right? This is bearish, the top is in. No doubt that local top is in with this rejection. Still a good chance. There's still a good chance that we can get beneath this low at 120.5. But this is the thing, I've seen many people on X. I mean, I should have saved a few of yeah, actually some people calling for the top, and we should be going to lower levels, right? Which is always, you want to be skeptical when you see so many people already being so bearish. Which is interesting, right? It's interesting to see. Anyway, we'll go through the scenarios on the higher time frame, okay? And we'll let's go through the comment section, say hello just for respect, and to say hello to the beautiful community as people are joining here. And I'll talk about a few trading setups, guys, a few trading plans, local plans for anybody that was, you know, wants to take a day trade or, you know, take my analysis into consideration. Then you can get the you know, you can follow up the plan as well if you wish, or, you know, no financial advice. I'm just going to be going through. Spank the like button, says Jose Banuelas. Much love to you, my man. Staffer1, the legend, El Profesor. Much love to you. Second like here, says Relief. Indian Beast, much love to you, my man. Sendeep, hello, legend Andy. Watching Andy's live stream is way more interesting than Netflix. Thank you very much, brother. That's very, very cool. Crypto Princess, much love to you. Thanks for joining the stream. Mattia CBM, guys, go and check out this dude. He is absolute legend, all right? Provides insane crypto content every single day on YouTube as well. Matthew CBM, go and check him out. All right, legend. Supreme Sanj, how are you doing? Andy's in the house, says Joseph Cox. How are you doing, brother? Ramich, much love. Yes, sir, Matthew. Matthias, Staffer1, Andy deserved 1 million subs. Much love to you, brother. Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. And Andy, let's do this. 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗽. Andy went sniper mode today. Yeah, I'm more in a swing trade mentality at the moment, but I'm going to shift, guys. I'm kind of bored of swing trading, and we're not getting much trades in you know, for the community. So I'm going to have to just change my mentality to day trading mode, which I did today. Today was my responsibility to give a little bit of good content, you know, day trading setups in the Legends Pro community, give a little bit of guidance, and provided a lot of info there for levels and scenarios and what we're looking at. Also letting the people know when I executed the trade, right? Just letting the people, the bullish case scenario as well, right? Providing info with the new information that we have, and yeah, just talking about major trading plans here, and just letting the people know as well, guys. I sniped long the daily level reaction, okay, in the trade, just to let the people know that I've taken the trade and looking to get above this green box at a bare minimum, right? At a bare minimum, not shoot up to 123.6k, which we are currently trading at the moment, getting a little rejection. But I need to give a little bit of more love and a little bit of more day trading setups. People want action, right? But you know, I am very, very careful on the decisions, because the market is here to take money off you, right? Not to give you money, right? If not, then you need to be very, very careful and plan your trades very, very well, right? Which is, you know, can be stressful sometimes, but when they play out, eventually they pay off, right? When you create that trading plan and you're ready for the scenario. And this was only a scalp day trade. I'm going to leave some open just in case the price decides to form a higher low here, and up we go. It was not a plan for a swing trade. For a swing trade plan, I preferred the price to actually go to lower levels, but sometimes the price decides to leave without you. I was ready to swing trade long Bitcoin with a plan that I had, and sometimes when you are too conservative and you want the lows to be taken here, the price might just leave without you. So sometimes you need to be a little bit aggressive on your day trading entries, right? And take into consideration that maybe the price is not going to take out the lows. And I think a lot of people do expect these lows to be taken, right? Which is eventually, you know, eventually the price can suddenly, you know, leave without you. Let's talk about a little bit of Ethereum later also, because Ethereum is coming very close to a zone of interest. Okay, we talked about this yesterday. High probability that Ethereum hits all-time high in the next coming weeks, guys. Okay, so we don't want to be too fearful with the pullbacks, because we're still in bull market. And Ethereum's coming down to a very interesting zone that was mentioned yesterday, which is, you know, where I want to take a swing long. For the moment, I am not in yet. So is the price going to pump and leave without me, just like it did here, right? Because I did not swing long this. I swing short Ethereum throughout August and September, which played out very well. As where I made most of my gains in September was the short from Ethereum. And I kind of don't want to miss the long. We're in bull market. We're getting some interesting pullbacks, but need a little bit of more price action. This would be a little bit too fast for me to believe that we are shooting up right now in the next 1 to 2 weeks to all-time high, which is eventually possible. We are looking for all-time high. But on Ethereum, when we consider this the pullback for the rally that we had throughout end of September and October, it's a little bit too fast. It is a little bit too fast. I would like to see a bounce, a movement down, right? A little bit of more choppiness, and then obviously take the decision trade, which is not the case for the moment. So let's go through the comment section and we'll dive in through Bitcoin, what we're looking at here on the higher time frame. I'm going to give a brief explanation. The most bearish case scenario locally and the most bullish case scenario locally also on the higher time frame. So stay tuned. Then we'll zoom in on the lower time frame to try and get some trading plans. I know a lot of people enjoyed yesterday's stream. We were like looking at the CBD, the amount of longs that are entering, the shorts that are entering. Oh my goodness, we've got a little bit of local volatility, which was interesting, and a lot of people stayed throughout the stream. They were enjoying the action and you know, looking at the levels and creating those trading plans. Which one of them was, you know, pay attention to 124K, not this one. This is back in 2023. You know, looking at, guys, the start of the bull run is happening, right? This is, for me, this is the first leg up, breaking the bear market structure, and we are looking for all-time highs into 2024, 2025, right? This is like a few years back, guys. So yesterday, yeah, we talked about how important the 124K level was based on confluence only, golden pocket and point of control from all-time high to the pivot low. You know, that gave you that. If you break above it, as soon as you get above 124.3K, which is the golden pocket high, you don't want to be in a short if it's too strong. You know, you just get out, you manage risk, you're above the level of interest, and that's it, right? This is purely, you need to have a wall on the charts, right? If you get above that wall, you don't want to be in the short, right? Just don't be in the short if you get above the wall. You can fake out of it, but that's when you're interested in getting into the trade. You fake out and you correct, then you get into the movement down, right? So for your trading plans, guys, just anybody that struggles creating trading plans, have a major zones of confluence, have a long and a short trade ready at major levels, and take them as a wall. If you cross the wall, right, if the price action crosses the wall, then it means, you know, it's breaking out, right? It's getting above it. You do not, it's in your best interest, because this is a problem that many traders, every DM that I get of people wanting me to help, you know, every DM that I get of people in a trade is that they're in a trade and they want my opinion on, do you think it's going to reverse? What should I do? I'm in the loss. You know, it's like, wow, you don't know exactly where the price is going. You don't have a stop loss. And, you know, I get many DMs on people trying to save them on their existing, you know, unrealized loss. And, you know, the quick answer is I cannot help you, right? You know, the quick answer is, you know, you need to create trading plans. This is it's a difficult game, especially if you don't have any plans. If you don't plan your trades, then, you know, your destination is to fail, right? At some point, it's inevitable, guys. You know, I used to trade that many years ago, and just taking poor trades, right? Where you just long, it's going to reverse, I'm going to short, I'm going to long, I'll add to the position tomorrow if I'm in a loss. Forget about all of that nonsense. The market will come after you, and the market did come after a lot of people in this rally. This rally was, for many people, unexpected to be so powerful and so aggressive. And I cannot imagine the amount of people that were shorting this rally, right? It's inevitable because you know, there is liquidity, and it's a painful death of your account, okay? Yeah, you need to go seriously level to level, right? If you break it with high volume, then, you know, we were realizing already with this breakout that we are going to go to higher levels. Highly likely we're going to chop in higher levels. Not this aggressive. I was not expecting this to be so aggressive. But since this movement up that had increasing volume, we're likely going to follow through here for a bit. And I cannot imagine, you know, the people that, you know, really try and short till the price reverses. So anyway, yeah, we're going to go in detail here. We're going to create some trading plans, at least the ones that I'm looking for on the lower time frame. But let's discuss a little bit of higher time frame Bitcoin. Nothing really has changed. Okay, we just got the rejection and we're getting some sideways momentum, a little bounce today, and the higher time frame scenarios haven't changed, which we're going to go through right away. Okay, Fury 4 really fitting everything you could in the limited space. J-Jack, much love. Max Gustas, buenos dias, amigo, ¿cómo estás? Andy, have a look at 𝗞𝗔 and 𝗖𝗿𝗆, much love. I will take a look at some altcoins later on. Zcash has been popping out very nicely. Adver, check Ethereum BTC chart. You will know when to enter when this goes up. Yeah, we can take a look at that. 𝗬𝗐𝘆, the man, the legend himself, is here. Guys, go and check out 𝗬𝗐𝘆's channel. He's an absolute legend, masterpiece. Hey, Andy, great trading plan today. Thank you very much, my man 𝗬𝗐𝘆. Okay, needs to give some love to the Legends Pro community with some daily setups. And it's played out very, very nicely. Nice little long that we got in today in the Legends Pro. What's up, CG Beats? Much love. Jones Private TP 108k. Wow. Jones BNB and Tron Analysis. Yeah, we can take a look at them later on. Okay, we'll do some altcoins. We need to focus on Bitcoin, the king of crypto. Andy went sniper mode today. I did, Nico. I did. Okay, so higher time frame on Bitcoin. The probabilities on the higher time frame are to still hit new all-time highs. We like it or not. The main reason why is the movement down that we've had from all-time high is a three-wave structure, and the bounce that we've had has invalidated the potential of an impulsive move in a wave 4. So what we are looking at here is either a sideways corrective structure or the most aggressive one, which is still valid as long as we maintain below 124,500, is a double zigzag down, right? That can actually get down to 219k, maybe 218.5, preferably without overlapping this pivot, where we do have lots of support in this area. What kind of support do we have in this zone for the most bearish case is the value area high of this entire zone of the last 3-4 months since July, right? Value area high of this entire trading zone is super important. Yes, you can dip beneath it. You can have poor breakdowns here beneath this zone and reclaim it. It's a very, very important level. We also have anchored VWAP, which is from this higher low that we formed on the 25th of September, which is picking up here with the value area low of this trading zone, right? Very important level. I do think that if we break down below 120.6k, it's going to be a poor breakdown of, give or take, $1,000 to $2,000 max. Lots of support. We also have the 382 Fibonacci retracement from this pivot low to the pivot high. It's an important zone. You really need to take a look at the lower time frame on the 15-minute to analyze the waves to take the trading decisions. The general idea today of that long position was looking at the lower time frame waves, right? I cannot look at a higher time frame support and take a trading decision if I'm not zooming in at the 15-minute, 5-minute time frame, because I analyze the waves and I realize that we're looking at a potential wave 5 finish and there is a daily level. If I didn't take a look at the lower time frame to take this trading decision, I wouldn't have taken the trade, which is, get a reaction at the daily. We're above the daily. It's a good trade, stop loss beneath the low. And it has gone higher than expected, okay? It was a day trade to take out 122.3k. And then next level was 122.6k. We pumped an extra $1,000, which is very nice, of course. And there was no shorts to be taken. So on the, it's important based on this scenario that I'm explaining, right? Let's talk about the bearish case locally, which is still possible. Then we'll go through the bullish one. Bear with me here, guys. The local bearish case scenario is rolling over at some point from this zone where we're currently at, preferably without getting above 124.5, because the moment we get above 124.5, the probabilities increase that this could be the low, and what we're looking at is a sideways correction. And we're just looking for new all-time highs potentially in the next coming days, maybe next week. We will go through that step by step. But if we decide to form a lower high here, we don't break above 124.1k, yesterday's highs, right? Tapping above it and then rolling is okay still for this scenario. The scenario that we're looking at here is a zigzag down and another zigzag to the downside, a double zigzag WXY, preferably on the bullish case scenario, which is the one where we have this being a wave 1, this being the wave 2 on the 25th of September, creating that low at 108.7, and this the wave 3, and you are in the development of a wave 4 to then create a wave 5 breakout that can be extremely explosive. We could have an expanding fifth wave here. You know, it's possible. If we are in bull market and absolutely hype moment Q4 of 4-year cycle theory, a fifth wave can be an expanding fifth wave here with no problem. Why not? Maybe this is the fifth wave that goes into price discovery and really hits 130 and 140. That's been a little bit too optimistic, but just to make you realize that a fifth wave can be as expanding as it wants. Okay, also just to take that into consideration. So most likely, usually your wave 5 does get above your third wave. It's very common to be half of the length of your third wave, right? It's not usually that powerful. But in a bull market, and if there's hype and everybody wants to buy Bitcoin, well, the fifth wave can be very explosive. But anyway, the general idea here on the bullish case is we're looking for a fourth wave. A fourth wave here for the moment has high probability to be on the formation. This holds for the moment the highest probability scenario on the higher time frame, and it all has to do with the 3-wave move to the downside. So this scenario right now to actually hold above $118,000 pivot 1 here for the moment holds the highest probability based on the information that we have on the rejection of all-time high, which is a 3-wave structure. It is corrective, okay, and what we're looking at is a potential higher low. So if we were to form a local bearish case here in a double zigzag, what we need to look at on the lower time frame eventually, where we have the strongest amount of support is the 382 Fibonacci from wave 2 to wave 3, right? The anchored VWAP from this pivot low, and the value area high of the entire trading range of the last 4 months, right? Since July, 3-4 months. So it is crucial to go through the lower time frame, because if the market decides to form a lower high here, which I'm very skeptical about right now, guys, the pump here has been pretty aggressive. It's been pretty powerful. We'll go through the bullish case scenario right now in just a second, but let's just consider that the bulls are not going to manage to get above the 70% Fibonacci, okay? Let's just imagine that the bulls, okay, right now are not going to manage to get to the 70% Fibonacci, which is right over here. So you either form a lower high, or I'm not a fan of shorting here right now, guys, based on what I explained. Big volume, you're breaking daily open, previous day value area high, you're above resistance, flipping into support, and there's not really much going on here as resistance in this area. So I'm really not a fan to short here where we at currently with this momentum. Just not a good short, at least in my opinion, okay? At least in my opinion, not interested where we at. The levels that I had ready just broke through with high volume. Nothing to do here with shorts at the moment. So let's just imagine that the price doesn't reach 124.5k, which is 70% Fibonacci. The moment you hit above this high of yesterday, hitting 124.5k, the probabilities decrease that you're going to take this low that happened on Tuesday at 120.6k. It increases probability that the low could be in, because what we would be looking at here, right, is a WXY zigzag. Okay, in your wave W, you got a I do see this more as a double zigzag. There is a way of counting this as a 5-wave move up in an expanding diagonal, but expanding diagonals are the rarest motive waves that they are, so you don't give them priority. You would give priority to a WXY, double zigzag if you do have one. So if you do hit 70% Fibonacci, what is highly likely, unless you break out in a third wave, because the bullish case is wave 1, wave 2, right? And wave 3 is smashing out here, right? You're forming a wave 3. This is actually wave 2, which has caught many people surprised, right? I'm in that trade already, but I was not looking for this to be a swing trade. I'm being a little bit, having a little bit of hopium on this happening right now as I'm positioned. But I don't think it's going to happen. It does still have the lowest probability for this to be wave 1, wave 2. And what you're building up here is wave 3. Low probability. You're likely going to form a sideways WXY if you take out these highs. So there is an interesting short, which we will go through. There is a short on a sign of weakness. We'll go through that as well. But yeah, as mentioned, as continuing with this, let's just imagine that we do not get above yesterday's highs and we form a lower high here, right? What I would be looking for is another move down, another powerful move down like this one, a little bit more powerful in a 5-wave move, right? You want to see a bit of a 5-waver, because the idea here is to form another zigzag down in an ABC. Right, that was the general idea that we've had. Not for this B wave to be so high, but it would still be okay if it were to be here. So zigzag down, very complex, choppy, overlappy, right? It looks very corrective. Double zigzag situation. You've got a little bit of a flat in the middle here for your X wave, and then a zigzag down. I would be heavily interested in analyzing the lower time frame here. Okay, I would be very, very interested, because I am interested in longs as soon as you lose this low. If once we lose 120,600, it's going to be looking at 15-minute to 5-minute time frame to analyze the waves, just like we did today in the Legends Pro community, which was literally we're looking for a end of a 5th wave to finish at the daily level. That's our best chance that we do have to finish this 5th wave at the daily. If we get the reaction at the daily, snipe along. Stop loss at the low. We're looking for the 4th wave to be claimed, which is very common. So I have to say, if this is going to roll over throughout today and tomorrow, this is like the best shot that you have to catch the high. However, I have a problem here in catching a short here. It's the confluence. I don't have confluence up here. It is 50% Fibonacci from the high to low, but it's just there's no confluence that I have here to say, oh, this is such a strong resistance, it's going to roll over. If it rolls over, it's just because it's been overextended, and of course we still have the 3-wave move down, but I don't have a plan for a short here, so I need to see the sign of weakness, right? Which would be that first initial wave down impulsively, looking at the 5-minute time frame, right? So in a nutshell, and taking a look at the value of this entire zone could be interesting. Yeah, it's not that interesting really. What would be interesting here to take that short decision to give a chance for the bulls to take out this low? I mean, we're going to have to see a pretty intense move down. It has to be pretty intense, and we need to lose the daily open of today and the previous day value area high, because this scenario is still possible. I don't have a short trade here. It is kind of dancing just at the previous day value area high. Yeah. Entry, stop loss at the high. I mean, you would be catching the high here for sure. If it is going to be bearish and we're going to roll down to the lows in the next 1 to 2 days, you would literally be catching the high here. It's too aggressive for me It's too aggressive. We're still dancing around here. Big volume, big rally in one wave. I'm not interested. I'm not interested, if I'm honest. Not interested. So what would I be interested in, right? You know, let's talk the plan here, right? Because he's like, well, if you're not shorting here, well, where would you short? I would have to see the first wave down, okay, which could happen here throughout the stream, right? I'm not denying the you know, that it cannot happen. I don't have a plan here, so I need to create one. We are getting a bit of a rejection at this moment, which is good to see, of course, for the bulls. It's been a pretty epic, pretty epic rally that we've had. Lose the previous day value area high with a pretty powerful move, okay? Not corrective, not choppy. The first move down needs to be relatively powerful, because when you catch a high, we're currently below the previous day value area high, so there's a good sign right now. You got previous day point of control that could act as support. Then we need to zoom in on the lower time frame to see if this is a kind of a 5-wave impulsive move, a bit of a high volume, a bit aggressive, right? Move down at least to 122.6, 122.5, drop another $500-600 aggressively. Because the general idea here of the double zigzag, which is the bearish case where you have the zigzag down, the corrective structure in your wave X double zigzag, and then another zigzag down to take out 120.6k, right? And this wave right over here will be developed by 5 waves. There will be internal 5 waves on the lower time frame if this has to come down to 120.6k. Matter of fact, the first wave down that we had between yesterday and today has been developed with a 5-wave move down, as you can see from the rejection of the golden pocket. So you do have a 5-wave move down. So if we are going to take out the lows at 120.6k, you know, that wave is going to be developed in 5 waves down, just like this one did. And I longed the 5th wave. Longing the 5th wave is good if you have a good level of confluence, which in today's case was the daily. It's a good attempt. It's a good attempt. So right now the price is rejecting. So it could be looking interesting to take that short. Okay, I did not short here. I did not catch the highs, if you wish, right? But for the bears, I think it's very, very interesting here to defend the lower high of yesterday, right, and form a lower high here. The bears that are looking for that double zigzag correction, zigzag down, they really want to defend this 7/8 Fibonacci zone from the movement down that we had early this morning, between yesterday and early this morning. This is like the last level, because if you do take out this high, then yeah, of course a correction is expected, no doubt about it, but this could definitely be the low. Okay, there's going to be a high chance that this is the low, and what you're forming here is going to be sideways triangle, or it's going to be a move up, move down, you know, form a kind of a flat to finish your Y wave here, and then rally. There will be a very, very good chance that if you hit 124.5k, that the low is in here. But you need to hit that level, because the bearish case is still possible, which is taking out 120.6k. So you need to take out 124.5 to be confident on the probabilities that the low could be in, and we need to look for longs on some pullbacks and some levels of support here to identify it, you know, which wave are we in right now to take advantage of the move up to new all-time highs. So continuing with the bearish case scenario, which is we're literally looking for a 5-wave move down here, just like we did throughout yesterday and today. You know, if you're going to move down to 120.6k low, you are going to move in some kind of a 5-wave impulse, just like you did here. So we need that first wave, right? This is like the first sign of weakness. If I've run out of resistance zones, it kind of chopped at the value area high. We're losing daily open. It is aggressive. It's been too powerful. I didn't want to take the chance here to get into the short. I would rather be conservative, as I am most of the times, and look for that solid sign of weakness. In this case, I mean, yeah, this is very, very low time frame, 5 minute, 3 minute. What we could be looking at here, a double 1-2, right? This is what could be happening here at the moment. I need a big wave down with high volume. Okay. Right now, this is just a bunch of choppiness. It can be corrective. It might reverse if it doesn't continue the momentum. But I'm talking about the shorting plan right now. And the shorting plan, I would have to see this being a double 1-2, volume kicking in right now, right? And the bouncers, forming that 4 and 5. This, I need a gap here with high volume. I need an aggressive move down and a bit of choppiness here, right, to create that 4 and 5 structure so I can count a 5-wave move down, right? That's what I need to see in the next, give or take, 1 to 2 hours to consider a sign of weakness here. Because what I'm trying to do here is detect the first wave, right, of the movement down. That's what I want to detect now in this zone. So on the lower time frame, the sign of weakness starts when you're starting your wave 1s and 2s and you get your wave 3 at some point. So we need a solid breakdown here with high volume to then say, okay, if you get a shallow bounce and you test the low, boom, 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 that's looking good for this to be an impulsive move. But you need that big volume breakdown, right? Give or take, this is the 3 minute time frame, so it would be a $300-400 move maybe, right? But it's enough to say, okay, we got the aggressive move with volume. We tested the lows a couple of times because we could have a few 1-2s here. That's looking good for the bounce to consider a short, because catching the high here when you don't have enough confluence is a little bit dangerous, right? It's like, yeah, you're trying to catch the high, and when you're breaking the local resistance, it's not an easy decision, I have to say. Yeah, you could say, I'm just going to put stop loss at the highs here, and I'm going to try and enter here at the 7/8 Fibonacci from the movement down, or as we lose the previous day value area high, I'm just going to get in, right? Yeah, I mean, it is a plan. As long as you have a plan, that's kind of fine, right? Maybe you think, oh, we faked out from previous day value area high, so as soon as we get below it, I'm going to trigger a short. I'm going to have stop loss at the high, and I catch, if we are going to lose momentum here in the next coming days to get below 120.6K, you literally catch the high, right? Almost catch the high. It is a plan. I don't like this plan too much. We're just moving up very aggressively. I just thought, you know what? I'll look to enter a short later on a sign of weakness. So it doesn't look bad. We could be getting that sign of weakness right now. We need to get a bit of a clearer move down eventually with a bit of volume. Okay. And have that gap, okay, in between the wave 1s and 2s, right? Create a solid move and not let the bounce of the fourth wave, right, overlap the pivot lows that you do have here from your wave 1s, right? You need to have that solid big gap with high volume. That's what you want to look for to understand that this movement down on the 3 minute, does look pretty impulsive, which we could be getting in the next coming hours. So let's see. You know, does for the moment it has a good chance. There's a good chance right now. The rally happened. It's time to roll over. Will this roll over be extremely choppy and overlappy, right? Because it could do this. Then I'm not interested. Then I'm saying, guys, this is a bunch of BS. You know, this is not a sign of weakness. We did not get the big move down with high volume, and we created the 4 and 5s, right, to consider an impulse. So yeah, this is not enough, right? If you decide to bounce here and start overlapping, I would give priority that this is a correction. So let's see if we do push down a few more $100 with volume, and we form a little bit of a similar consolidation to this. For the moment, it has a good chance. We are moving down, so there is a good possibility, right? It's all about analyzing the scenario. We want this volume to preferably move down a little bit more, and then obviously create similar price action from, you know, this momentum. Then we can consider that there is a gap here with high volume for a wave 3. Then the bounce is what's going to be interesting for me to participate, right? It's just like participating, you know, here after this rejection, right? You need a pretty solid move down. I mean, this is micro counting inside of here. There is a kind of a 5-wave move down here on this movement down. But what you want to participate is on the 3-wave bounce later on, right? And you're looking at 50% at a bare minimum, most commonly to be hit, which is the case that what happened yesterday. You got the move down, bounced at 50%, you know, rejected at 50%, and that's where you formed the wave 3, right? Then that's the big movement that you want to be in, right? We all want to be in this movement, right? When we're trading, you want to catch the big move. And obviously the bounce here, and then the last wave to the downside in that wave 5, which can be very lucrative as well if you've got good support to get a bounce to claim the wave 4, which is very, very common, right? That was the main trading idea that we had today. So as you understand this, right, and we do have a higher time frame bearish case here still, which is still very much valid, and that is rolling down here in another impulsive move to the downside in 5 waves down to get below 120.6k. The wave that we want to participate, if we haven't catched the high, which is, you know, becomes a little bit difficult here, is getting into the wave 2, right? It's just like getting into this wave 2 right over here. So it is really remaining a little bit patient, seeing the big volume breakdown and the choppy momentum to consider a 5-wave move down, right? Which is a lot of the times it's not beautiful, it's not perfect. This was actually pretty damn good as a 5-waver, right? This was the general idea today. You know, how textbook can it get when you're looking at a 5-wave move, right? And you're looking to get in at the 5th wave at the daily level. I mean, sometimes technical analysis, the planets align and it's you know, close to perfect, right? A lot of the times it's not, but a lot of the times it is also. So you just really want to wait for the clearest trading setups, and this was one for me today. So for the moment, this is looking pretty okay for a rejection. We've got in volume increasing. Preferably we do get that volume increasing nicely here to the downside, and we can give the priority, right, for the bears. We want to see at some point this big wave down to slow down, right? We want to see it, right? After a wave 3, you're looking for a shallow bounce and you claim the low again, right? So at some point here, we are looking for that bounce and claim the low. And eventually you're looking for a larger bounce later on, because we are interested in this kind of bounce, because we want to get into this wave, right? I'm not sure if you guys can see, I'm probably in the way a lot of the times here. Let me go smaller. So it is really remaining patient, and sometimes the trade is not going to play out. Sometimes the price is just going to absolutely nuke and there's no bounce. Sometimes the price is going to get an epic bounce here, and then the wave 3 here is broken. Well, then this increases in probability that all of this is corrective and we're looking for higher, right? So it is really, you know, you definitely have to have some knowledge here and a little bit of skill to understand where you know, the probabilities, right, of the scenario, which is what I'm afraid of from people that are relatively new, because, you know, they would say, well, looks pretty okay for an impulse, right? I'm going to short the 50% golden pocket zone because Andy told me that, you know, this does look impulsive, right? And we didn't finish, you know, with a couple of 4-5s here, just as we have 2 1-2s. And you might think, oh, I'm going to short the 50% golden pocket because Andy said that, you know, we're going to get a wave 3 and a wave 4 and 5 later on. No. You know, you really need to see that gap and high volume on this movement. And, you know, right now, if this price action gets a bounce and it starts overlapping, you know, these pivot lows, that is not enough. That's too big of a bounce. This is not a wave 3, no 4 and 5. This then shifts for high probability corrective. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it is important to understand, because things can change very, very quickly, right? With your you know, the way of looking at the market. As a trader, you need to be very, very quick and changing your bias. Okay, very, very quick. Understanding what's happening next. So until that happens, which has not happened, I cannot identify a short here. Yeah, for the moment it is not enough. It is not enough. Getting a bit of a bouncy action here at the moment. 1 2 1 2 3. Yeah, well, I would give a chance here. I would give a chance that we are still in the wave 3. Okay, let me just change my settings 1 second on Fibonacci. Yeah, what I would label this movement down here is important to not get above 123.2k, 123.1. We're just a couple of $100 away. If we roll down from here without overlapping this pivot low, and we take out the lows again, that's going to be good. All of this can be considered a wave 3 because you have 1 2 3 4 5, and then eventually you would expect 1 more 4 and 5 because you have this 1 and 2 here. So it is important right now on the lower time frame that we do continue to the downside, claim the lows, get a bounce, claim the lows again, very likely, because all of this is what we're looking for a wave 3 at the moment, as we do have the increasing volume into this wave down. The moment you overlap 123.2k, which is this low, then it's not looking impulsive anymore, right? So it could be a correction. So it is important that the bears defend this zone at the moment, this pivot low, which they are doing a great job. 50% Fibonacci from this low to the high is defending. That's good. 1 more low, little bounce, 1 more low. Then we can consider that this movement down is an impulse. okay? Because remember, in every single wave, you know, in an impulsive wave, you want 5 waves, right? So it might look a little bit Chinese and a bunch of BS, guys, but this is how the market moves. You like it or not, this is how it moves. So defending this low is good right now. Tap the low, get a little bounce, create another low. We can consider this movement down an impulse. There is going to be a interesting bounce at some point if the market moves like this, and I would give a chance for the bears to form a lower high here and roll over down aggressively between today and tomorrow. So it's looking pretty okay. Pretty okay for the impulse down for the moment. We need a bit of more information. And the first major pivot, which is very common, is the 50% Fibonacci from the wave down to consider a wave 2. Of course, we can hit 50%, golden pocket, or 7/8, which is the most common area for the bounce to happen before you create the wave 3, right? This is literally what happened yesterday, guys, right? What clear example we could give to someone, right, when you're talking about this right now and you're like, you know, this dude right over here is talking about these waves and how the market needs to move. The market moves however it wants. Well, you know, the clearest example of that 5 wave down is this one right over here. And the first wave 1, the wave 2 got rejected at 50% Fibonacci, right? And this is literally the explanation that we are giving in right now on this potentially being an impulse. What we need to see still, considering the micro waves, right, on the lower time frame, and then pay attention eventually to that bounce to look at 50% golden pocket. If we do have some confluence zones, a high volume node or whatever, what you want to get into is this wave right over here, right, which is this one. You want to participate in this wave, right? You want to make some gains, right? That's what I want to do. And I need more information. I need this to prove itself that it is going to be an impulse, which for the moment it's looking pretty good, right? We're just going to test the local lows right now. It can go lower. Wave 4s and 5s can get aggressive, but we are looking for some kind of a bounce to happen at some point, preferably, right? So we can actually, you know, decide to take the position. Moving down at the moment, maybe some people did manage to short the highs. Okay, maybe some people managed to get into a short at the highs locally here. I did not short. I just got into the long, which most of the profits have been taken. I left a position open just in case the bullish case does happen. So we're getting a big rejection. What is the stock market doing? Stock market is getting also a little bit of a dump right now. Bitcoin feeling the pain of the dump. So we are moving down here right now pretty aggressively with the stock market. So still that's what I would like to see. Okay, that's nice. Now we can consider right now with this momentum, right? It's a little bit of a masterclass on Elliott wave theory on the lower time frame, right? So what we are labeling right now, this first rejection, is a wave 1 and a wave 2. What we do have right now potentially is the end of the wave 3. Preferably we do get another lower high and another low, because inside of this structure, what we can count is a 5 wave move down, which is literally the wave 3, right? It's the higher time frame wave 3 that could be in right now. Now this bounce it's important, right, that we do not get above from this wave 2, which is the higher time frame one, to this pivot low. Does not get above successfully the 50% Fibonacci, not hitting the golden pocket. So yeah, a bounce now to 122.6 or 122.8. That's kind of the zone where you would want to see this bounce reject to create one more low as the highest amount of volume has developed right now on this latest move down, right? That's where we have the highest amount of volume, which you always want to prioritize it to be a wave 3. So a little bounce right now and another low, boom, right? You are going to get a reaction bounce at some point. That's the bounce that you want to identify as the correction and a possible wave 2. It's important right now that we do form another lower high and another lower low. And, you know, the market might not exactly move like this, but that's how it, you know, it's a similar movements that what we're looking for, okay? What is important is that bounce created after finishing this potential impulse, right? Preferably we'll get a little bit of a bounce here that takes, you know, at least 15 minutes or so, and then creates another low, just so it's a little bit more symmetrical, right? It's never perfect, but you want it as perfect and symmetrical as possible to consider it, right? An impulsive move down. So after that consolidation and one more low, bounce, 3-wave structure, you need to look for 50% golden pocket to be the zones of rejection, you know, and you know, if you consider the possibility of confluence, well, what we would be looking at is the previous day valley area, right? Previous day valley area could be interesting. Valley area high, that could be roundabout where you can get the rejection. If you want to add confluence, if possible, into your waves, yeah, previous day point of control right now is getting lost. Yeah, I'm not sure if a reclaim of the previous day point of control and back test the previous day value area high would be ideal, right, for that wave 2, 3, 4, 5, right, and finally lose. It's going to be interesting. I will be looking for shorts. We'll be very, very patient on the bounce, guys. If you move down here and you nuke, you know, it is what it is. You know, we want to get into the bounces. We want to get into the corrections. Whoever sniped here the highs on the loss of the previous value area high, then, you know, I have to say it's a good entry. It's a good level. You know, if the price decides right now that it wants to come down to 120.6k, then eventually it's a good entry, right? It is a good entry. What we're looking at here is the possibility of forming that double zigzag structure. So yeah, it was very important for the bears to defend this high, okay, the bearish case. So it was definitely possible to form a lower high in this region. Bit aggressive as an entry, but you know, a good stop loss would have been the highs here. But it was super important to remain that zigzag correction, zigzag down. Of course, if it's a double zigzag, this bounce cannot get above this high because it would not be a zigzag, it would be something else. So looking quite okay for the double zigzag scenario. And if this is the first wave down, it can get aggressive, guys, right? It can get pretty aggressive. We can lose 120.6, actually go to 120, 119k, right? I'll be analyzing, hopefully that's going to be tonight, because it is a zone where I want to see the price stop, find some support, and possibly trigger a long position, okay? But you know the deal. You know, catching falling knives is not the best plan. There is always a moment that the price will stop. When you take a look at the aggressive drop that we had on Tuesday, the price starts chopping. It starts going sideways. It finds a local bottom and then it reverses. So patience is extremely important at the local levels of support, where you want to see the price getting exhausted. In some rare occasions, the price forms a V shape, right, and suddenly rallies very fast. Not many times, but it can happen. I'm not interested in participating in a V shape because they don't usually happen, right? So what usually happens is if the price nukes down, there will be a moment that you're going to find, you know, a little bit of a reaction support zone, right? Which is where you start to reverse. So it's going to be a chill out, wait patiently, because catching a falling knife, if you break the levels, well, we're probably looking at something else here. And, you know, we're going to lower prices, right? So first leg down, very much possible here. We got some increased volume in the middle. A bounce would be ideal. A bounce would be ideal at some point, and the bounce is going to be muy importante. Of course, you don't need to form that bounce, but it would be ideal. Right? Nice little move down. Stock market is taking a hit at the moment. Yeah, this is dragging the price of Bitcoin also. Not sure if there's any news. I mean, we've got stock market open. Yeah, this is dragging Bitcoin down also, right? Stock market, S&P 500, getting a nice little tank, which is eventually creating this movement down also for Bitcoin, which can very much form that bearish case scenario. So the bounce is going to be muy importante to analyze. What we want to see is a choppy bounce, right? And I mean, with that theory, you got an aggressive move down here on Tuesday, a very choppy bounce on Wednesday to just roll back down, right? So this did count better as a 5-wave move down eventually. And if you do have a 5-wave move down, you do expect a lower high at some point. Sometimes the 7-8 is hit. Right, it was just too powerful. It was a little bit too powerful, getting above all of the levels. But we finally lost the previous day value area high, and I have to say it was an acceptable short trade. Just create a plan, go in with you know, good risk management, because we did lose the previous day value area high again, so it didn't break out successfully from that level. So it's all about, you know, decisions, guys, right? Well, it's all about, trading is all about taking the decision and managing risk. Today's point of control could be the one that gets the little reaction bounce. The bounce is going to be studied here with the Legends Pro. I mean, I'm going to walk the dogs. I'm going to have dinner, so I probably won't be shorting it. But they know exactly what they need to look for. I will do an update there for them in the Legends Pro community, okay, on the Telegram, because if the bounce is choppy, we are looking for 3, 4, 5, right? We are looking for that rollover here to claim the lows at 120.6k, very, very likely with this aggressive drop. So yeah, I mean, that's a little bit what we have. We need the bounce unless you catch the highs, right? I managed to catch the lows with the Legends Pro. It was a day trade. A little bit of extra profits here was more than good. And you always want to have a little bit of the position open just in case the price decides to go to higher levels, right? So overall, this setup was given. It was a day trade in the Legends Pro, not in the VIP. The VIP, I'm looking for swing trade setups. Ethereum is looking very interesting. I'm still remaining patient on Ethereum. I will be providing my setup for the swing trade idea that I have on Ethereum. Still remaining very patient. This is too fast of a pullback to expect a V shape. I think the markets are a little bit shaky. The timing of this impulse to this be a finish correction and suddenly rally right in the next couple of days, I think is unlikely. So keeping a little bit patient and waiting for some scenarios here. Market's getting a little bit of a tumble when we do take a look at the S&P 500. Legends, if you are interested in trading, bluffing for me at the moment is the number one that just requires an email and a password. They have a huge amount of liquidity, fast entries, no spreads. You got the biggest bonus available, okay, when you sign up down below, and you do get, of course, a fee reduction when you do sign up with the link down below, okay? You have a few exchanges that you can choose. You got bluffing, okay? You got BTCC, you got weeks. They all have great perks. I'm actually preferring bluffing more than any other ones, and they just require an email and a password. If you do a minimum deposit, you'll get access to the VIP, which is where I'm sharing the higher time frame projections. Okay, scalping day trading is reserved for the Legends Pro community. Okay, this is the long setup that I mentioned today, which was looking for that reaction bounce at 121.3k to get to this green box. We got some extra moves up. Okay, Legends Pro community, if you are interested, every day there's daily updates, possible setups for day trading. Okay, mainly for Bitcoin, sometimes Ethereum. We've got Dylan with the altcoins. You do have down below the middle link in the description. Okay, for anybody that's like, you know, how can I join the Legends Pro, right, where you do provide those daily updates? Well, it's here. Join the Legends Pro community here in the middle. Okay, so yeah, just for anybody that wanted that information. Price tanking down very aggressively. The bearish case scenario still had priority, which is the double zigzag. This movement to the downside eventually was counted more as a 5-wave move to the downside. And after a 5-wave move down, you do expect 50% to the 7/8 Fibonacci to provide resistance. This actually almost got to the 0.88. So it went pretty damn high. There's not a bad entry here as we lost the previous day value area high, because we did wick above it and then got below it. Previous day value area high, right, from the range of yesterday was lost. It was a bit of a fake out to the upside, but it was a good entry. And for the moment, the bearish scenario to claim below 120.6k still remains the highest probability based on the information that we have of the last few days. Someone today in the Legends Pro community was asking, what about the bump and run, right? What about the bump and run? Well, Elliott wave theory comes into play here. This movement to the upside, highly likely corrective. This movement down that we've had in the last 24 hours, highly likely impulsive. So when you think correction and impulse down, you can't give the bump and run, right? Even though it looks good, right? Even though it looks good. We mentioned the fake out yesterday, right? Be careful with the fake out here, guys. We've got lots of resistance at 124k, and it's very, very likely that we're going to get a rejection at this point. This is the rejection point, 124k. Level mentioned on stream. If we were to manage to rally there, this is the biggest resistance that we have. That's where the price has a good chance to stop and roll down, right? Wave 1, wave 2, A, B, and C, right? We're probably in the C wave formation, right? This is just the drawing. We're looking for a 3-wave move down, and it might be true that this has been the first wave down, the second, and we are developing the 3rd wave here to the downside from that rejection that was mentioned yesterday, right? So you get the point, right? You can see where, you know what, of course nothing follows the exact drawing, but I do my best, guys. It's not always perfect. I wish it would be perfect, right? It's just you get the point, I think, right, of what we're looking for here. So yeah, this bounce is going to be interesting, guys. This bounce is going to be watched very, very carefully. High volume in the middle, a bit of choppiness right there. Yeah, this is bounce is going to be interesting. Muy interesante. Preferably you get at least to the 50%, right? And then in this area is where you know, we look at the choppiness. Preferably also you form a 3-wave move to the upside, overlap, and that's the moment you're like, okay, this is gonna tank. There's nothing bullish. 1, 2, 3. The 3rd wave fails, and that's when you want to position short, stop loss, right? We're tanking down, guys. You know, this is like what you want to look for. 3rd wave, if it rallies to the highs, you don't want to participate, right? On the short. So let's see. yeah, it's level by level, wave by wave, right? And decision taking with good risk management as always, legends. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining the stream today and smashing up the like button. Hope everybody is doing absolutely wonderful. Let's go. Let's do a count on how many likes we do have. Over 200. That's pretty good. Thank you very much, guys, for smashing the like button. Much appreciated. Let's go through the comment section. We're probably going to take a look at a couple of altcoins now. All right. Ethereum. I explained the plan that I have on Ethereum on yesterday's stream. Plan has also been shared in the Legends Pro eventually, right? And we'll be updating the VIP and the Legends Pro on my positions, right? The ones that I'm looking for. But we are here to win, right? We're here to win. So we want to be careful on the trading decisions. But yeah, if you're interested in that, you know where to go, guys. It's down below in the description. Let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. We've got Mark Dutch here, legend himself. Simon Jones, local CVD, very bullish. Local CVD is very bullish. Holy smoke. Yeah, this is the thing. Also, lots of shorts entering the market right now in the last few hours. They did manage to drag the price down. There's a little bit of a battle right now with bulls and bears. Because let's talk about the bullish case, guys, which is possible. Let's talk about the bullish case, which is possible. Bullish case, let's clean the chart a little bit, even though I haven't got much stuff. Bullish case scenario is that this has been a ABC wave to the downside. You still, even though there's a good chance that we claim this low, we are prioritizing on the higher time frame for new all-time highs. Okay, that's the general idea on the higher time frame because of this three-wave move down, and we got this epic bounce. So no matter how good it looks for another zigzag down to claim below 120.6k, right, and then find support and then possibly look for longs eventually if we do get that support. You know, the probabilities are still to take out the high. So what would be here the bullish case scenario, which looks awful, especially because this counts much better as a 5-wave down, and this counts better as a double zigzag. You got a zigzag, a little bit of a mess here in a flat, and then another zigzag up. A little bit of a flat scenario here is possible, and then zigzag. So this does count better as a double zigzag to the upside. And to count this as a bullish movement, it would have to be an expanding diagonal, which does not look good at all, guys. It does not look good. And an expanding diagonal here doesn't have the highest probability. If you can count a corrective structure, which counts much better, zigzag up, you possibly have a flat right there and a zigzag up. Counts much better as a corrective structure, and the only way to count a possible bullish 5-wave move up, counting all of the peaks here, is an expanding diagonal. And you never prioritize an expanding diagonal in a motive wave. It's the lowest probability, okay? But this would have to be it. And in this case, yeah, your wave 5 is the longest here in this case eventually. So this would have to be it. Doesn't look good, but that would have to be the bullish case. So the bullish case is not looking good anyway, even though this rally was looking pretty epic today. This counted better as a 5-wave move down. This counted better as a double zigzag up. So a lower high is what we were expecting. However, my God, we got all the way up to above the 7.8 fib, and that's the moment you start thinking, hang on a minute, when is this going to stop? Well, it stopped at the 7.8 Fibonacci, right, for that lower high. So still prioritizing the double zigzag scenario. So at the end of the day, you know, what we're looking for is, you know, that bounce to form another lower high from this lower high, and eventually break down in a third wave, 4-5, get below 120.6, maybe 120.19, right, 119, And then we're going to have to wait for the price to actually stop at support, form a bottom formation, and then potentially look for longs, right? No limit longs, none of that BS. I don't want to get caught, right, in an underwater trade. Yeah, this is the bullish case. This would be a wave 1. This would be a wave, wave 2. I mean, this does look like a 5-waver. So this would have to be an A wave, a B wave, and then maybe a C, right? You kind of double bottom here out of surprise. And then we get this. That is possible. That is possible, but I wouldn't give it the highest probability, right? I would have to see a massive rally, very impulsive, corrective structure, and then, maybe decide tomorrow if I want a long or not. But I wouldn't give this the highest probability for this to be a 5-wave expanding move to the downside. Yeah, doesn't look too good, but it would be the bullish case. 3-wave correction, expanding move, wave 1, wave 2 here, or wave 2 not finished, claim the low again, and then surprise rally, tomorrow, Friday. Not giving it the highest chance at the moment, just because this movement to the upside looks more corrective, and this very impulsive. So you would expect 1, 2, right? Choppiness, 3, 4, 5. Actually lose here this level. That for the moment has the highest probability. Okay, so let's go through comment section. Mark 𝗬𝗫, my man, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining the stream. One more nonsense comment and you're out. Who's that? Who's doing nonsense comment? We got 𝗬𝗫, who's the strongest moderator, I have to say. Staffer1 is doing a good job. Thank you very much, Staffer. Much love to you, brother. Mark 𝗬𝗫, much love, my man. Thanks for joining. One more nonsense comment and you're out. What's going on here in the comment section, guys? Come on. Be friends. Be nice. Be nice to people. Be nice to me. I'm just a messenger. I'm just here to give you my analysis and then share my knowledge, right? And BNB just hit the top of the major pitchfork with the highs the other day. I'm short from that high. Absolute legend. Divine Hood, absolute legend. Take profits when you see it, please. I only catched a long position today. Did not catch the short, even though it's an epic. It was an epic entry if you want to catch a lower high from a zigzag, right? 7-8 Fibonacci is your last level. Did not short here. Did not short here. And did not short here. So, when the price is so aggressive and you're breaking resistance, you just want to chill and see the sign of weakness, which we have got. And then the bounce could be looking interesting, right? And that's where we might take a decision trade. Today's decision trade was here, guys. But there was a plan ready for that scenario. Possible 5-wave down, bouncing from the daily. That's what we do. We provide the information. It's all about creating plans. At the end of the day, most of the traders do whatever they want, right? Obviously, it's what you need to do. You take the decisions. You do whatever you want. People take this as gambling, right? Long here, short here. We're going to take the lows. We're going to take the highs. You really need to study every single movement. It's boring, guys. It does take a lot of energy and brain power to really come with high probability setups and get plans ready for a trading setup. And the only trading plan that was today for a long, which is the one that we had to take, was that idea of, this was the general idea. We're looking for a WXY double zigzag, 5-wave move down, finish the first wave down, get a bounce at the daily to, potentially 122.7. We were breaking these levels. We've got to 223.6. So yeah, maybe this arrow right over here should have been slightly higher. And the daily open and previous day value area high is where we've got the choppiness in the last few hours, right? Bit aggressive. You can take the decision as soon as you reject, put stop loss above the high, as soon as you lose previous day value area high. We take these levels as barriers, right? If you're above the barrier, you're not taking the short, right? If we get down below it again, you can execute it and, stop loss above the high of the fake out, right? Which is literally kind of what happened, right, in the last couple of hours. So yeah, that's the only long that I got in. It was only a scalp, but yeah, it was a pretty good trade in the end. Pretty damn good trade. So it's all about winning, right? It doesn't matter if you miss a trade or not. Market is looking weak. The S&P 500 got a major tank. This is getting a tank right now. Oh my goodness, if this is still the wave one, I would really label this as still the wave one, guys. Still the first wave. You want to form some kind of a stop and a bounce at some point. If this is the wave one, then wow, yeah, wave three can be pretty intimidating. This needs to stop at some point and get a bounce. When will it be? Or will it never be, right? And it's just going to go to zero. At some point, it needs to stop and create some kind of a bounce. My goodness. Seems like it's not going to happen anytime soon. Anyway, too bad I don't do... What's going on here, man? Mark. If else, I'd probably overdose. Yeah, well. This is the beginning of the end, says Mikhail. Yes, very possible. Very possible. Not looking great. Not looking great, isn't it? It's not looking great. Very aggressive move down. Much love to the legends. Much love to everybody. Stay safe with your trading, okay? This is the beginning of the end. Andy Super Chat Holy. Let's take a look at Super Chat right away. Where we got the Super Chat. Andy Leubro, good time to enter ICP FET. R-Wave, RNDR. ICP, I'm only looking for either a double bottom or a sign of strength. ICP, there's two scenarios that I'm looking at. Okay. Come back down to the lows. I haven't done anything with my trade yet. Trade is still there. It's probably going to be in a loss in a few days. But it's a swing trade. It's a small position, right? It's, you know, made 5K with today's day trade long, right? And this is, you know, I don't care if it goes to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in a loss, right? It's a swing trade. It's low leverage, low capital. It's for a potential projection if we get an altcoin season. If we don't get altcoin season, then I'll have to take the loss, right? But anyway, looking at ICP, there's only I wanted to go through the total crypto market cap, guys, because it's still looking good, even though we're having a bit of a few crappy days, guys. Come on, we've been hitting all-time high just a few days ago, and Ethereum still looks bullish, right? It's the beginning of the end, right? People are freaking out right now. As mentioned, there's high probability to take out all-time high, guys, regardless of what kind of pullback we do get here. Still high probability to take all-time high. Ethereum, still high probability to take out all-time high. Man, I want a deeper pullback on Ethereum. So yeah, hopefully we do get a little bit of scary momentum, because I really want Ethereum to actually come down to at least below 4,300 to even start considering longing, right? So anyway, that's my plan. You can follow your plan as you wish. But ICP, for me, it's clear. For me, double bottom, I will consider adding to the position. It's still going to be risky because we're downtrending, no doubt. I need a clear double bottom, sign of local strength here. I am positioned already, so you know there's no rush to get into an epic position. This is a swing long. Let's see if it plays out. I want to make this position big, but it's a small position for the moment. Or reclaim to add to the position of the value area low and the point of control. So the moment this does, taking out the low and then up, or forming a higher low and then up, it doesn't matter. The moment we get above this zone, it's time to add to the position aggressively on the sign of strength, right? And then eventually, if we do get this wave 2, right, and we're looking for that pop here in a wave 3, then obviously add maximum to that position. We will consider, you know, analyzing the situation here. We might not even get this, guys, right? We are at the end stages of the bull run. Some altcoins have done very well. Eventually BNB, XRP, you know, Chainlink's done okay, but not everything's going to pump like it did in 2021, right? It's kind of a different time. It's a different time right now. And there was such a good tweet that I need to share, that everybody that's expecting an altcoin season, you know how many people got wrecked back in 2021 and 2022 bear market, and there's been so many rug pulls and so many different scam cryptos. 90% of the people that invested back in the previous cycle have lost money, right? People have lost hope, they've lost money. There's some people that will not come back to this market, right? Saying screw crypto, it's dangerous, right? Yeah, you can make money, but you know, if you don't manage your money well, and I know most of us, most of you, most of us, I have over a dozen cryptos that look like crap, guys. I don't even look at it. The only good ones is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink that I'm in pretty good damn profits, which is 80% of my portfolio, which I'm happy. I'm happy for that to be the biggest position, right? The king is the king, guys. Don't mess with the king. Long-term investment, this never fails, right? When you buy in a bear market, of course it's going to fail if you buy now, right? In the next coming weeks and months, you're probably going to hold a bear market. But when you know exactly when to buy aggressively, which we've been very vocal about on the channel in the last few years, guys, this is very likely the break of the structure back in 2023, right? This is the first wave of max momentum to the upside. I am going in heavy here on Bitcoin. We're already buying heavily here in this zone in 2022 when we lost $30,000. I was like, Bitcoin at 25K, 20K, 15K, bring it on, right? I'm buying heavily. I was still buying heavily on the momentum move here. Stopped buying once we were breaking above, you know, $30,000 successfully later on. So this is the zone to like go in heavy. Like I was like, I'm putting everything that I got in here because I know what's coming with high probability, right? We've broken the structure. This is the first Elliott wave move up. We go lower here. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to buy aggressively, right? It did bottom out at a 25K, 24K zone, right? We didn't go down to 20K zone, but the understanding of what's coming, right? As a spot investor also on Bitcoin is, you know, what's going to happen here is that we're going to be heading up to all-time high in 2024, 2025, right? At some point. So I've exited 25% of my entire Bitcoin holding, guys, because yeah, all of this is probabilities, and yeah, we can discuss that there's high probability in taking out all-time high in the next coming weeks. Locally, we are looking at the double zigzag scenario, the possible wave 4. If we move down more aggressively and we overlap from this pivot, we're going to have to start considering a multiple 1-2, which I'm happy to say is a scenario, even though this second wave 1 is a little bit longer than this one, exactly 1.618 extension. Yeah, we're just going to have to go level by level, but regardless, even though you get a pretty deep move down here, the probabilities are still higher to take out the highs. This is a corrective structure that we have seen from the rejection of all-time high. So we're going to have to go level to level, but I've sold some Bitcoin. You know, I am sitting on cash at the moment, which is what you want to do when you're getting into the, you know, last stages of the bull run, right? When, you know, when we've been bullish here for a wave 1, wave 2, then 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? Are we still in the third wave? Are we still finishing 4 and 5s here? This is the moment to really start, you know, packing up bags, guys. It's time to pack up the bags, since we were accumulating in this zone back in, you know, 2022 and 2023. This is like heavy buying moment, right? Regarding investing, right? This is, and time to pack the bags right now when your biggest explosive moves have already happened, which are very much labeled with priority as part of your wave 3, right? The biggest moves with the highest amount of volume, you need to always prioritize them as wave 3s. Don't expect a wave 3 here to happen and go to 200k. This is low probability. This is where you are really just stretching your last little waves, right? Which is very likely your 4-5s, right? Every time the breakout of the highs are just getting weaker and weaker till you know, so a few big whales and institutions are just gonna pack their bags, unload what they bought, you know, at the ETF right zone, which, you know, a lot of them are already making over 150% profit, right, in about a year. Yeah, I don't know many investment funds that, you know, double their money in a year, guys. They're happy with a 10% or 15% right return in a year. So these big investors have got into Bitcoin making a 2x in 1 year, and they're like, yeah, you know, we're in insane profit. So this is the moment of exhaustion. The biggest waves have happened already in the market, right? Which is your wave 3, right? The big move up, heading to all-time high. This has already happened, and you know, right now it's like trying to time the exact top is going to be a bit of an issue. So what you do, you sell some, right? The other day I was vocal on, I'm out, guys, at 15%. I've sold at 125k, which is still not that much. Well, I mean, it is, but percentage wise, you might think, get out right now with everything. I'll never sell all of my Bitcoin. You know, I might sell 50 to 60% max. I'll never sell all of it. Never. You know, you always need to leave a moon bag, right? We always leave a moon bag, but take profit regardless, right? Muy importante. Market dumping, it is. Crypto King, it is dumping, my man. What's going on with the market? It's dumping. We've lost the hope for the bullish case. I'm gonna get stopped out, man. That was not, for me, it was not an easy short. Okay, could have. I didn't have any plans here. I didn't have any trading plan. So if you don't have a plan, then you kind of miss the trade. But a solid plan here would have been fake out, because the general idea was still looking at this to be a corrective move to the upside. Okay, in a double zigzag, and this an impulsive move down, then you need to form a lower high, and the last level to form a lower high is the 7/8 Fibonacci, basically, right? And if you do get back inside the previous day value area high, then you realize that, yeah, I mean, it's a fake out, it's a fake breakup. Probabilities, you know, according to Elliott wave theory, is to form a lower high somewhere in this region. So yeah, this was like the aggressive entry. Then if you are conservative as well, like myself, you're looking for a bounce, but sometimes the bounce is just not going to happen where you want it to happen, right? So especially when you move down, right? Elevator down. Sometimes you really need to try and catch the highest point if you have a plan, but I didn't have a solid plan here. Okay, so yeah, losing previous day value area low, stop loss at the high, you're targeting the lows. The risk to reward is actually pretty damn good. If you had that plan ready, the general idea was to look for a lower high from the pivot high of yesterday, with the prioritizing that these lows are going to be taken with that double zigzag. Okay, so it does look like that is what is going to happen by the looks of things in the next coming days. Level to level, guys, thank you very much for joining today's stream. I'm going to wrap it up, take my dogs for a walk. I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's see if we do get a bounce. A bounce is expected eventually. Pretty aggressive move down. Ethereum still going lower. I want Ethereum to go lower. I'll explain with the legends what I want to see. We're just about to get to the zone of interest for me, and I will be letting the VIP and the pro community know, guys. Okay, if you want to join, make sure to send me a DM to join the VIP or the pro community, where there's daily updates and possible setups that we're looking for. Make sure to check out the exchanges down below. Bluffin, great exchange, just about got stopped out right now at break even from that long. It was a good trade. So yeah, Bluffin, one of the best exchanges in my opinion, okay, with just an email and a password. You're signing up, you're getting the best bonuses available. It is the second link down below, guys, okay? You got Bluffin, BTCC, Weeks. They just require an email and a password and you get the best bonus. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining and I will see you in the next one, okay? Thank you very much, Mark Dutch, Staffer1 for joining. Much love to everybody. Trade safe, be patient, create plans, level to level. Thank you very much and I'll see you tomorrow.